Hey guys! Today I just kind of wanted to show you all of the clothing that I have sewn for myself basically since I was 16. I learned how to sew in high school. I took 2 sewing classes and it's a mix of costume pieces as well as just everyday clothes. Well, I say everyday clothes, but I tend to really not wear any of it. It often feels way too nice to just like run to the grocery store or do quick errands. But regardless, it's a mix of like costume pieces as well as more normal clothes. Um, I would like to say it's going to be a short video, but considering that it's a lot, it's a lot. Because I'm turning 35 this year, so that's 10 years worth of sewing, even with a large break in the middle. So the first thing that I wanted to show you, and it might look familiar if you watched the video where I made a bodice, is my very first Ren Fair costume. So it's this one here, full thing, the 2 skirts, the bodice, and the blouse. It's I was able to sew it in my sewing class. I don't know how I convinced my teacher to let me sew this instead of what she was teaching. I kind of like was like, well, I can equate this to the top and the skirts to the whatever. So, I was able to kind of convince her to do that. I loved the fabric that I picked out. It's this, plaid with greens and browns. I didn't even know back then that green and brown was my favorite color. I used to think it was blue. And so it's greens and browns, gold grommets. I've always loved gold grommets. And then under here, I can kind of show you the square skirt, which was, I think, yellow in that pattern image. This is really pretty green. And then the long A-line skirt is this brown. I don't know what the material is for most of these. I didn't know, like, what's good fabrics and stuff like that back then. Like I said, I was 16 when I made this. I'm pretty sure the bodice is like a flannel or something, and maybe the screen skirt is polyester. I was just picking off of like the colors. Like I picked this color out first. I picked this fabric out first and then picked the rest of my colors. So there's dark brown, there's green, there's yellow, and there's like an off-white in here. So this is my very first sewing project and my very first Ren Fair costume that I ever made. After that, I didn't have a sewing machine at home yet. After that, I sewed a skirt, a blouse, and 2 dresses in that class. And the second time I took that class, I don't have any of that anymore. I used the blouse for fabric for something else, and I got rid of the 2 dresses and the skirt. I really wish I hadn't gotten rid of one of those dresses because the fabric was so pretty. And I think my partner might be able to fit into it now compared to anyway. The next thing that I sewed, you would have seen already if you watched the pirate coat video, is the pirate coat. The yellow pirate coat, the original yellow pirate coat, and the blue waistcoat. I sewed this in 2010 or 2011. I know I had the coat, I think I had both pieces finished by spring 2011 because I went back to my college for their Ren Fair weekend that they do, because I was in the Ren Fair club at that school. I've talked in more detail about this coat. It's missing its buttons now since I harvested them all for the new one. But this is the next thing that I sewed. After I made the pirate coat, I had bought this fabric to be the pants, but then I ended up never making it. So I just quickly whipped up this poncho with a hood. It was the first time I ever drafted my own hood. Real simple. What I sewed after that was a the same Ren Fair dress for a friend. Obviously, I don't have that. And then I wasn't really sewing much after that because I didn't have the space. The sewing machine was on a card table in the living room. This room was a, catch-all junk room. It used to be the cat's litter box room. So this room was not clean for a very long time. In, I want to say 2019, early 2020, I was making clothes for dolls. So I was doing doll customizing for ball jointed dolls. The ones that I have range from the 1/4 scale, which is about 24 inches, 1/3 scale, which is about 30 some inches. And then in more recent years, I have littler ones. But I was sewing then. Mostly it was hand sewing, and then I started doing it on the machine. Around that same time, I had cleaned up about half of this room. So basically from here where my desk is with the sewing machine across, this section had been cleaned up and I was starting to sew again. First thing I sewed for myself in recent years is this tiered skirt. I must have seen a video on YouTube. I did have TikTok at that point. Maybe it was TikTok, but it was like super easy tiered skirt. And it's like, just take these measurements and multiply them by whatever, and you've got your 3 tiers. These fabrics are all from Joann's fall collection, and fall is my favorite season. So I have so much fabric from that section. It has one pocket, but it's kind of small. It was my first time ever doing one of those like slit style pockets that you put into a seam. I did get some wear out of this. I don't wear it much anymore. I do love long skirts still, but I just haven't, especially with hot weather like it's been, I don't wear anything long if I can avoid it. After this skirt, I took the A-line skirt pattern from the Ren Fair costume and made just a plain skirt. It's a 3-panel A-line skirt with a waistband for a drawstring. I don't have that skirt anymore. I tried to convert them into secret pants and I messed them up. But I could tell you I used more of this brown fabric with gold polka dots because it was a pretty good neutral. So I had made a skirt out of that. I made another one, same pattern, that I do still have, out of this beautiful tan with little pinkish red roses all over it. Again, it's another skirt I don't wear very often. I don't like the drawstring. That one, the tiered one, has an elastic waistband. The drawstring I don't like as much because it feels a little restrictive. It just hurts a little bit. I don't like much pressure on my stomach, but I made this skirt. Still a good still a good skirt. What did I make next? There's a lot, as you can see. Around the same time, I was really kind of hyperfixating on traditional Chinese clothing. I had watched The Untamed at the end of 2019, and when I was making doll clothes, 2 of my dolls, I had given them Chinese names. I believe all of them are made by Chinese companies anyway, but to me, they look like they had kind of whatever. But I had made traditional Chinese clothing for 2 of them, and then I made some for myself. I don't wear these ever. They're like jacket style tops, I guess is the best way to put them. The first one I made, I'm using almost all of my fabrics, starting with the tiered skirt, is made out of quilting cotton. Quilting cotton is my favorite type of material to work with. Super easy, and it comes in so many different colors and patterns. Is it the best clothing wise? It can get a little warm. Some of them can be thicker than others, but I just love quilting cotton so much. If it's not quilting cotton, I will tell you. So this is kind of like a jacket style, has big sleeves, and it's just straight down the middle with a ribbon tie. It's this off-white with little white flowers on it. See that? There you go. Off-white with little white flowers and leaves all over it. I made it as traditionally as I could. For Chinese clothing, traditional Chinese clothing, they tend to not have seams on the tops of their shoulders, but they have one down the center back. I believe it's supposed to represent longevity or a long life or something like that. And so I tried to be really accurate because I did research when I was doing it for the doll clothes, and the way I learned how to figure out the sizing for stuff easily translated to a human size. So that's the first one that I made. I don't think I've ever actually worn it. The next one that I made is out of, I believe this might be a linen or a linen type, but it was in the cotton linen kind of section. It's got the wrap style in the front where one side goes over the other. It's very wrinkled from being in my closet. I did wear it once. I think I must be missing something in the way that I learned how to make these, because the fit with that wrap style isn't great. And it can be kind of weird around the shoulder. So there's definitely something that I'm missing when it comes to how to sew this style of clothing. Now, I don't quite remember the order of all of these, but I do know one of the next ones that I sewed was another wrap style Chinese shirt. This is definitely a shirt. It's more fitted. And again, I'm having those same fit issues. I have worn this one a couple of times, but I also made something that would be more considered of like a coat to go over it. And I definitely did wear this in a costumey kind of style, where it has, technically it has no sleeves attached to it, but because of how it's shaped, the seam of where the sleeve starts is like halfway down the arm. So it's kind of like a sleeve. And I also did this moss and mushroom embroidery on the collar. I missed a crucial element, which is the belt. I didn't even think about that. So this fit very loosely. I probably should have made some kind of belt thing to wear on the outside of this. And I wore these two pieces with that brown skirt that I had made. It was still around at that time. I know at some point Morgan Donner's Shenanigan Pants video came out, and I made my own pair. This fabric will probably be recognizable to you if you've seen the Stays video that I posted. It is the green and brown with the gold flowers. It was my first time ever making pants. And they actually are a little big on me. Last time I wore them, they were anyway. I'd never done zippers before, so I ended up making it a completely buttoned fly with a button waistband, and then the overall style front here. Get that even. There we go. Overall style front, which buttons on. These are all patches that I had purchased on Etsy. I don't remember where I got a lot of them. They are iron-on patches, and they're really cute. We've got some flowers, little mushroom person, regular mushroom, another mushroom, this kind of floral pattern leaf, more flowers. There's one more. Yes, there's more over here. Moth, more flower. A lot of them, from being just kind of in my closet folded up, are starting to peel up. And I know I pulled this out semi-recently and noticed one of them was like almost completely coming off. So I had glued that one down with fabric glue. But yeah, I've never had an occasion to wear it because Like, where do you wear something like this? Oh, and the inside of the front overall flap is this really pretty fall fabric from, of course, Joann's fall collection. But yeah, the way I made this, I took that A-line skirt pattern and kind of modified it to be, you know, not the 3 pieces, but 4 to do the broken up look. I didn't intentionally want it to be on the sides not matching. I wanted one side to be green and one side to be brown, but I messed up the cutting of the pieces, so I had to switch it around. Another thing that I made, I think around this time, is this shirt and skirt combo. Now, these are made out of curtains. And I do not recommend making clothing that you intend to wear in very hot weather out of a polyester curtain that is not meant to be worn as clothing. I died wearing this outfit. It's cute, but it's not breathable. It was probably one of the hottest days of the year that year when I wore this, and it was a huge mistake. It's also was horrible to work with, trying to sew around curves of like the neckline and, you know, the sleeves. The sleeves got completely warped out of shape somehow that I had to basically add in this little box pleat to the top of the shoulder just to make it fit. It didn't fit anymore. And this is a pattern that I had based off of a shirt that I had, and I'd made things out of it before and it worked perfectly fine. Yeah, it's a very long skirt. I have to wear it I wear it at my waist where I normally wear like skirts and pants, it drags. So I either have to wear it like really high up or like constantly hike it up. I have not worn it since because it was so awful to wear. At one point I was planning on making something and I wanted to test out a different like t-shirt pattern. The one that I used for the curtain shirt is like standard, you know, front, back, sleeve pattern, but I hate putting sleeves in. So I was like, well, what if I take a t-shirt pattern and just trace it out without like separating the sleeve? So I made this shirt. It's a crop top using a t-shirt pattern. It's literally all one piece of fabric. There's no sleeve. And I was mostly just testing the pattern out, so I was using leftovers, hence why this is skirt fabric that I used on that other skirt. And the back is actually 2 different colors. I actually like this a lot. So it's this really pretty orange leaf fabric with gold leaves printed on it. And then this side's Halloween fabric, which I love. I've only worn it once. Again, it feels too nice to wear just like out and about, and because it's quilting cotton, it's a little warm. Not that t-shirts can't be warm, especially when they have giant decals on them. But yeah, I liked this shirt, but again, I just feel weird wearing things just around. Now this is a skirt that I made out of flannel. That's the word. I made it out of flannel. It is using the A-line skirt pattern, but instead of 3 panels, I made basically 5. It's really big, really heavy. It's got nice elastic waist. I actually didn't quite have enough, and I had to piece together my last panel. Has pockets somewhere, doesn't it? Did I not put pockets in this? I did. There they are. They're a lot lower than I remember because I still haven't at this point figured out where to put the pockets. It's really warm, and what I actually did, it was much wider because there was more than 3 panels. I pleated it before sewing the waistband on, which then the waistband being elastic, you know, makes it gathered even more. It's definitely like a winter time, dead of winter kind of skirt. Not that it gets that cold around here anymore. This is a waistcoat that I made out of a curtain. I grabbed this curtain from work. They were just going to throw it away because it was an old display and we didn't sell this curtain anymore. I love this fabric so much. And so I actually took the bodice pattern from the Ren Fair costume and modified it to fit better. It's a little big in places, but I really like it. And around the same time, I made this skirt. I believe it's 8 panels, 6 panels. 6 panels. I believe this is like a shirt weight cotton. Then I obviously got it in the same fabric in 2 different colors, and I just did this back and forth paneling. It's really it's not like when you hold it like this, it's not lightweight, but it's a pretty thin fabric. See my hand right through it. So it's good for warmer weather. This is a pirate shirt or a Regency era type shirt based on a video that Bernadette Banner made during the pandemic of just like, you know, wanting that kind of flowy shirt. And I love this fabric so much. It was originally a white with these little embroidered flowers on them. I tea stained them. Actually, I forgot to mention that the like traditional Chinese shirt that I wore with the like long green coat was also white, and I tea stained that as well. Unfortunately, this does not fit me very well. It's really tight around the shoulders and the armholes. I did not have enough of this fabric, and it is from Joann's, so it's like I don't think I'm ever going to be able to get it again. I have little scraps of it left, and I've been thinking about trying to make it fit better. I just never got around to it, so I've unfortunately never worn it. I did try it again. I, fixed some issues, and there was a new version that she put out. This one does fit a lot better, but it's also almost too big at this point. This is also from the like linen cotton section of the apparel section, and I really like it. It's this green and I guess black striped fabric, and I got the gussets and the under the sleeves, and I did all the things. I did it with this shirt, with the other shirt too. Did the like little patches that you sew on to places where the fabric is split to like reinforce it. And it's a mix of machine sewing, both of them, a mix of machine sewing and also hand sewing. So like the collar and the cuffs and those little patches all got hand sewn on. Like the collar's got half machine sewed on, and then the rest hand sewed on. A style aesthetic of clothing that I really like is Lolita fashion. And so I really wanted to make kind of a casual Lolita dress. This fabric my partner actually found for me at a thrift store. It's this really dark brown with this pink, tan, and blue print on it. And all of the fabric is this uniform small print, but then just along the bottom, which I did along the skirt here, is this border print. And if you know anything about border prints, they're like, I think they're not super common anymore. So it's basically that crop top pattern that I made that was the two-toned on one side. That's the top here, but I split it down the front for buttons. I drafted my own bishop sleeve pattern so that it was all gathered at the wrist. And then it's just a rectangle for the skirt so that the border print was super visible. Of course, pockets. And the collar is this really pretty eyelet cotton that I had tea stained, and it also put it on the bottom for a ruffle because the fabric itself was scalloped. So I think I had made this fabric into a skirt, and then I don't wear it, and because it's got all these holes in it, it's hard to wear. So I just cut it up and turned it into the ruffle for the skirt, which is just so beautiful. And then I did green buttons down the front. They're mismatched because I was just pulling from a random assortment of buttons that I have, including the buttons for the cuffs, which I got really lucky on, are these little blue flower shapes, which are perfect for this fabric. So that is something that I made. This would be considered an OP dress or a one-piece dress. It's also more casual since it's not fitted at all. It's a very oversized. I wanted to make a jumper skirt, which was basically like a sleeveless dress in Lolita fashion. And I had this orange fabric lying around that was from the Joann's fall collection. And so I took the waistcoat pattern that I had made, and then just a shorter but rectangle piece on the bottom. It's this orange with little crosses all over it. And then I just did grommets down the front. I actually have some boning in here so it doesn't pull weird. And then I wanted a really big ribbon. Unfortunately, I've not gotten around to making a shirt to wear under this, because with a jumper skirt or a JSK, you need to wear a shirt underneath. I mean, you don't need to, but in Lolita fashion, it's newer to wear something like this without a shirt. It's more of a new kind of like trend that's going on. And yes, of course, there are pockets. Most of my skirts have pockets in them, even if I don't mention it. And I even made this shorter than I'm used to. I usually like floor length skirts, but I made this a little bit shorter. But yeah, and this bias tape is got little orange leaves all over. I got really lucky. It wasn't even during the closeout sales. Joann's just had it on sale a couple of years ago, and I saw it and I'm like, I have to buy it. And I bought every single one that they had, which was like 4 of them. The last thing that I sewed before I started this channel was a little crop top sailor suit shirt. So it's again using that crop top pattern with no sleeves that have to be sewn on. It's all one piece. I just split it down the middle, made a button placket, which I had never done before, and made my very own little sailor collar. Used, green ribbon to make the line on it, and then a bunch of buttons in green that are all mismatched because I just have a collection of random buttons. And the intent was to make a pleated, like, schoolgirl skirt to go with it, but I never finished that one. So yeah, that is everything that I've ever sewn for myself. Obviously, I am excluding the pirate coat that I have made in a video, as well as the stays that I have made in a video, because you saw both of those. Oh, also excluding the bodice that I made in a video, and I didn't mention the full Ren Fair costume that I made for that same person, because I mentioned it in the bodice video. So that is every piece of clothing that I have ever made for myself. It is a lot. Is this still recording? Thank God. It is a lot. I didn't even realize it was a lot until I was pulling everything out. I gotta sit down. Oh, this is perfect framing. You're so far away. Is this better? Oh, it's better. So that is every piece of clothing that I have ever made since I was 16 years old. So that's basically 10 years of sewing. I did not realize I had made so much because I don't wear any of it. I'm very introverted, surprisingly, considering I make YouTube videos. But I'm very introverted, so I tend to just not wear the things that I make because I don't want it to be perceived. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. If you like crochet, sewing, or any other kinds of crafts, please consider a follow. I upload every Sunday, and I hope to see you next time. Bye!